All right, everybody, what's going on? It's the ID84 show live here from quarantine week 30,469. As always, to the left of me, Adam DeMallets.
Hey, everybody.
It's episode 152. We got some sad news yesterday via email that a co-host that was with us throughout the entire quarantine will no longer be joining us on the show. The late Ryan Glover, who passed away yesterday afternoon. God rest his soul.
Tragic.
He didn't really die. To the show he died. He has to take some personal time. So we gave him the open invitation anytime he wants to come back and join us. He is more than welcome to. But he did gracefully get us some guests for tonight and next week. Tonight on the show, scheduled, we have author John Johnson, comedian Michi Hall, and rapper Magno Garcia. They said that right? Magno, right? I thought it was Mango.
I want to say Magnum like the condom, but I don't, yeah.
I'm probably going to call him Mango about 15 times tonight.
I'm going to call him Magnum. I can already feel it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I wear.
And John Johnson, not to be confused with Don Johnson. You know. Oh, really? Well, they definitely have different parents. I'll tell you that. Yes. So.
It's been a week or so. It's been quite the week.
Has it really been quite the week?
Oh, you said you had some interesting stories there.
So. No, the minute we started to go live, I just see this thing pop up, and I'm just gonna. So apparently, more than 200 naked inmates just escaped from a Uganda prison.
Why were they naked?
It says that Uganda forces are searching for more than 200 naked prisoners who escaped jail. They broke into an armory, stripped and fled into a remote wilderness. I don't know why they felt the need to strip.
Yeah.
But
it is very warm in Uganda, and I think they probably felt the need if they stripped, then they probably wearing like fluorescent colored jumpsuits, right? Most like prisoners do that.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that's actually kind of smart then.
So they decided they're just gonna run, and you have a bunch of guys running naked in the jungles of Uganda. People they're gonna think they're a village. Like they probably have still have villages with like tribes and stuff out there, right?
They can use their skin tone as camouflage. That's genius. That's not even racist. That's them being smart.
Well, how long ago did that happen?
Like, very recently, like the other day.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say like now. I go, well, now is probably a bad time to do that because it's daytime over there, so they won't blend in as well. But
yeah, they took off their clothes to avoid being spotted in their distinctive yellow uniforms and ran into the foothills.
Okay, it's like I wrote the story. Like,
there you go. There it is.
I mean, that's what I would do. We all seen The Fugitive, the movie, right? With
I love that movie.
He shaved and everything, and he cleaned himself up, and then he knew the places to go and everything like that. I mean, that's what if I ever broke out of jail, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
What would you do if you broke out of jail? I would head to I don't know where I would go.
And I can get out of the United States for sure.
No, not for sure, because that's the thing. Like, I would probably go to Canada or Mexico, but I think Mexico is probably more realistic.
But yeah, Mexico is realistic, but that's also more expected.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you still got to cross the border, which can raise a few eyebrows, when you're crossing over. And they probably have a on the lookout for you too, or what do they call that? Be on a watch, be a bozo or something. They could have some kind of slang term.
Or any chance you could get a boat to Iceland?
You could probably get a boat. I can see you could probably steal a boat. You need funds though, so you need someone to help you with this because boats eat a lot of gas.
Well, you'd have to be smart, and before you do this crime, have the money already prepped. You know what I mean?
You would have to do something like Ben Affleck did in the good old movie The Town, where he had it set up and he took the train down to Florida, and he was just even if you're eventually going to get caught living in the United States because you figure everyone does. It could be 20 years from now. Even Whitey got caught.
They'll find you. Yep.
20 years, 25 years from now, you're eventually going to get caught. Like you almost want to go to like a Central American country. Somewhere where they're on the low key about stuff and where your money can get stretched a very long time.
Yeah, something with like Argentina where the Nazis made it,
Yeah, like the Nazis. Exactly. You know why?
They did it. They were the most wanted in the world, and they made it. Some of them made it.
Well, because Argentina was a colony or controlled by Italy for many, many years. So they're obviously an ally of the Germans. So Hitler and the crew, well, not Hitler, Hitler's men go over there. I mean, you'll eventually get caught, but I mean, I would still do the ID84 show live from from the shelter. You think they could find me?
Yeah, they'd put a missile down your chimney. They'd find a way.
Even the Unabomber got caught, and that was 20 years ago. The 30s.
Although speaking, you just said not Hitler, but there is an actual conspiracy, and I don't rank it high, but I rank it higher than a lot of conspiracies, that Hitler, it's more likely than not that he did die, but there is some kind of evidence that he did escape.
Well, he could have. I mean, he allegedly, did they find the woman? I mean, I guess, here's the thing. I guess if his people found them first, then there's a good possibility that maybe he didn't die.
Well, the thing is, he was one of the very first people to have a body double. And the Russians were the ones who found his body, who got his body.
Okay.
And they didn't let us see it for like a long time. They kept his like skull and like body like in a bunker, basically locked up.
Yeah.
And like we didn't see anything of it. They said he was dead, and DNA testing was like done on it.
Yeah.
But like there's no, like that was as of like maybe 5-10 years ago. But like there's no solid confirmation that it's him. This shit that was a male in there and a female.
So where is he buried somewhere, or did they fumigate him? Like cremate him?
I forget exactly what they did with the body, but I know the Russians had the skull for like a long period of time.
Fucking Russians are interesting people too.
They're weird.
I bet there was at least one Russian guy that had sex with his skull, because those sick bastards over there in Russia.
Well, they fucked around. They probably stood over it and just shot their guns down at his corpse like a million times. I know I would.
Yeah, we surprisingly get a lot of Russian people listening to the podcast, believe it or not. Russia proper, not like any of the Soviet Union countries like Kazakhstan, because I don't think they have the internet access quite yet. They're still working on it. Do you know what country gets zero? We get two countries that get absolutely no views from in the course of the last decade or so.
Two countries?
Two countries. We've pretty much touched every single country except for these two. And I think
I'm guessing one's in Africa somewhere.
No. Well, I probably
all of them in Africa.
So it might be a couple small ones. I'm thinking of major countries for that matter.
Oh, all right.
Think of two major countries in which this show has never been downloaded in, and it's mostly because of the government. I bet in the
China.
China, yeah, 0 downloads.
China.
Hong Kong, we got several, but 0 from China proper. And,
what about North Korea?
North Korea, yes. It's funny when you take a look at the map of Asia, because we get hit a lot of those countries, even the smaller ones. Sometimes you even get one download, someone like randomly downloads it, and you see this China, just big wide open white space, and then you see this little peepee up on the top, and it's North Korea. Apparently, because of some of the I guess probably it's flagged because of some of the content we have and some of the search results that may respond to us, but especially when we have adult porn stars on the show, like we did last week with was it Arty? She was a fun girl.
Yeah, was that her name? Yeah, she was cool.
Yeah, you can see that episode. We're gonna be posting that to YouTube next week, or later this week, I should say.
Was she your favorite out of all? I think Alex Cole is my favorite.
Alex Cole was, yes, she was probably the most sociable, the more like laid back, kind of like down to earth one. But the one was very interesting was the what was her name? The one that was after her, the one who was down in Miami.
Oh, the one the darker skinned female.
Yeah, the more Latino one.
Yes. I know you're talking about that. Yeah, she was interesting.
Yes.
Although they all had similar circumstances other than the one we had last week. She has hers is different. Like she's married.
Yes. So I had gone, we did our research on the people that come on the show. And yes, it was very unique. Her and her boy toy do a lot of the videos together, which is very interesting. I feel like that's like bringing sand to the beach. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I wouldn't feel like it's a weird relationship, right? Because you figure you're dating a girl, you're like, oh, it's cool, I'm dating a porn star, but you know what she's doing going into it, right?
That's true. I feel like you've already been briefed and have had time to,
But if you're already in the relationship and like, imagine dating someone and she goes, well, I was working at a florist, but I think I'm going to become a porn star.
Yeah, that would work.
Right? Yeah. Like I was an auto mechanic, but now I'm blowing guys. Like I don't like that could be a possibility. That could be. I don't think that's probably a good thing for this relationship. You know what I mean? Who knows?
That's something like you have to be willing to accept it going into it. But if they were to change course and be like, oh, I'm going to be a porn star now, then that's a little fucking weird.
It's a little odd, right? Yeah. It's one thing if they're a porn star and they decide they're going to just be regular actress, but they could be a struggling actress and then be like, well, the only way I'm making money is if I take a D in the B. or in the M or the V. Your choice. Your choice alone. Look at Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer had to start off that way.
Really? Did he?
There's a rumor that he started off doing gay porn. I don't know how true it is.
Probably
It's
not.
one
I
of
think
Hollywood urban legends, like you know.
the Richard Gere gerbil story.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly one of those stories. So whether it's true or not about Mr. Val Kilmer, I remember hearing this when I was a kid. It's like, yeah, Val Kilmer, Batman. Yeah, do gay porn before he became a celebrity.
It was somebody who did like a. Oh, I know Sylvester Stallone did something softcore. It wasn't like hardcore, but he was in like a softcore adult movie.
Hey girl.
Ugh.
Oh, girl, want to touch me like that? Yeah, touch me like that. Ooh, yeah.
I had a conspiracy that I think Stallone, most of the characters he plays in his movies are gay because he never gets the girl. Like he always almost bangs her, but he never does. Like he walks away. I've sat there and watched Stallone movies with friends and be like, I guarantee nothing's gonna happen here because nothing ever does. And like, and he sits on the bed with her, and then the scene ends.
Yo, Adrian, I can't get it up today. I got too many hits to the head, Adrian. Adrian, why are you walking away, Adrian? Adrian, why are you walking away? My penis don't work. It's not my fault my penis don't work.
And then then the big Russian guy comes in. He's a full-on chubby. You know, the guy who boxed. Was that Rocky 3?
Oh no, that's the Russian Drago.
Yeah.
That's 4, man.
That was 4. Yeah, that was the one who was like training in the tundra up there in the upper.
Hey, the Russian guy got me off, but Adrian can't make a move.
Well, I picture his thrust being like when he takes a punch, like. Huh!
He has a kid though, doesn't he? He has a couple kids, doesn't he?
His son killed himself.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, talking about bringing up news. Sorry.
But he was in the movie. He was in the 5th movie.
Yeah.
Which was horrible. It was like the dumbest movie ever.
I just want to give a shout out to Brian listening out in LA. His Raiders had a big win on Sunday. Football Sunday last week. The
Raider fan?
The Raiders should have lost. Why would you have your best running back in the league not run the ball on 4th and 1 to get in field goal position is beyond me. But hey, I'm not the coach of the Carolina Panthers, so therefore, I don't know.
What, you know a Raider fan?
I do know her. He's a hardcore. He's a Raider fan from back in the day when they were originally in LA. Like
they're horrible.
Yeah. he I get to Dodgers and Raiders fan. This guy is.
Raider fans dress like they're going to a Kiss concert.
They do. Well, I think they're into like the stuff where like where you put masks on and have sex with random people in the stands, which you can't do now with COVID. But unfortunately, not the key. Hey, so football style last Sunday. It didn't seem weird watching it on TV with no fans there. Did it? I don't know for you, but for me, it didn't really seem like. The only time it was weird is when they showed like a zoom, like the aerial of the stadium. There was no one there.
Yeah, it felt weird for like maybe a quarter, and then I was fine with it. But what I thought was hilarious was you can tell the players aren't used to it because you see them score a touchdown and then they run to the stands like to celebrate, and there's nobody.
You're looking around. And it's funny because like you could pick up like everything they're saying, and like it seemed like I don't know. It usually like when you get to a situation like some of the games where it's getting close and it's really really loud, and you can see like the players just screwing up and they can't figure out the counts and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But there were plenty of games. Like look at the Saints Bucks game. I think the Bucks went off sides twice, and there was sound pumped in, but it wasn't like loud sound, not enough to throw you off.
Well, I remember when Cam scored his first touchdown. He got into the end zone and then went and pointed into the stands, and like it kind of looks kind of lame.
Who wants my ball? There's like 4 guys out there. Anyone want my ball? I'm gonna throw it to you. Who wants my ball? Cam Newton with the first touchdown as a Patriot, and then 3 hours later, Tom Brady does the exact same thing.
If you're in the press booth and like calling the game, it must be really strange because there are certain cues. Like even if you would have missed something, like say you took your eyes off to grab a drink of water for a second, if you hear the crowd go, "Oh," maybe an interception just happened.
Well,
right?
They actually asked. I think Zolak was talking about it, and they're like how a lot of the plays are done by. It was a hockey guy. Someone who does hockey play. Said it was confusing because most of the time they know something's going on the ice because they can hear it, especially because they're paying attention to the puck. So if the puck's going on here, but there's a fight over there, they typically aren't looking over there, and then they hear the crowd go crazy and everything, and they stop paying. So it's it's going to be – and half these announcers are doing it via TV. They're basically watching the game on TV like we do in their living room and doing the play-by-play that way too, which is very weird. as well. I think football was actually at the stadium. They showed the plexiglass between Jim Nance and his boyfriend. What's his boyfriend's name? Fucking hate. Collinsworth.
Yes, Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
Chris Collinsworth, and this is my boyfriend Nance.
So I am reading though, like going forward, which stadiums are going to allow fans and how many.
Yes.
And so the Browns will allow up to 6,000 fans for the first 2 home games.
If they can find 6,000 fans.
Right?
Be more Bengal fans there. I'm going to tell you that much.
Titans aren't allowing anybody as of now. Buccaneers will allow spectators for their first 2 home games of the season. It doesn't say how many, though.
Yeah.
It say spectators. Steelers, nobody. Eagles, nobody. Jets, nobody. Dolphins will allow 13,000. Colts, 2,500. That's nothing.
2,500 fans up there in Indianapolis to see Phillip Rivers. But you know what? The 25 of those, about 400 are going to be his kids.
Yeah.
So, 25% of the fans at the Colts game next week will be Phillip Rivers' family because he has a lot of.
This is great for quarterbacks, though, if you think about it, because quarterbacks that normally would buckle under pressure aren't, because there's no fans booing. There's no They were saying the other day how Aaron Rodgers looked comfortable in Minnesota when he never usually does because there's no fucking fans there. You know?
No one was yelling, hey, Aaron Rodgers, I heard you like men. I used to
like
make you feel very uncomfortable. Aaron Rodgers, why are you 35 years old and have a grown man as your roommate? Aaron Rodgers, why do you every relationship you have with a hot girl? Did you hear about his ex? Who's the ex-girlfriend? Who's the actress?
Oh, that cunt, Olivia Munn. She sucks, though. I can't stand Olivia Munn.
She is a bitch, and I don't know if I 100% trust what she was saying, but she was going on this interview. I think it was on Stern, and she was kind of going off about how she was dating a guy who was clearly gay, but she didn't say his name, and it was all hinting around to Aaron Rodgers type thing.
She dated this director or producer once, and it was funny because he's like, yeah, I remember Olivia, but I remember back then she said she was part Asian. Like she used to change her ethnicity because it would sound more exotic.
Yeah, she's like fucking Elizabeth Warren. So you get sometimes you're just gonna.
Yeah, pretty much. She's the actress version of Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, but she's not. But
like people do that all the time. Like if someone asks me, like occasionally it'll be like, oh, I'm Italian or I'm Irish, depending on the situation, right? But I'm both of those things. I'm not just making up a thing. You know, it's not like saying, hey, I'm Indian, of the native, of the American, not the American, the dot Indian type. You know, my family owns 7-Elevens.
Oh wait, oh okay. So she kind of is. Yeah, her father is German, Irish, and English, while her mother is from Vietnam.
Oh, so she's a little Asian in her.
So basically, her mom got banged in a rice paddy during Vietnam. That's what it sounds like.
She wearing the hat?
That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know.
Those hats, those are pretty. What's the deal with those hats?
The basket hats?
Like the big giant. Look like you're wearing an umbrella on your head.
I'm gonna get one for the office.
We should always wear them.
For Halloween, I should.
I was in Disney World once. Now, you go to the different countries in Epcot, and they have you go to China, and they have those big hats you can buy. So I'm goofing around wearing one. I almost took out a family from Nebraska because they're big. They go out about a foot and a half off your head.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're made to keep the sun out, to keep you shaded. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, it's oversized styles worn by a woman in the Congo.
Yeah, baby. But the Congo? Isn't the Congo in Africa?
Yeah.
So why are the Asian women wearing them? How do they get to Africa?
Similar climates. I don't.
I took a wrong turn and I ended up in Africa. I was trying to get to Europe.
Well, it's funny though, because when I was in Africa, the balance that these people can maintain on their heads is incredible. There was this woman I saw; she had her whole fucking laundry basket on her head and was walking, not even touching it, just walking.
Balance is incredible. And you just said a statement that not many people can say. Cool. When I was in Africa, I only know 3 people who's ever been in Africa. How's that? 3 people. You, my sister, and my uncle who was born in Africa. Those are the only 3 people.
How long were they there?
Well, my uncle was there till he was 9, I think. My sister was there 2 weeks. She was only in South Africa, I think. She was the same place you were, kind of in the same area.
Well, I was in South Africa, and then I was in Namibia, so 2 countries. Yeah.
Namibia is the country that's landlocked in South Africa, right?
Namibia? No, it's up against the water.
Oh, what's the country in the middle of South Africa? There's a country that's surrounded by all 4 sides by South Africa.
Well, South Africa is like,
Is it the
but it's funny because Namibia, there's one photo I have, it's bizarre because you have desert, and then right after the desert, you have ocean right next to it. It's the most bizarre fucking thing you'll ever see.
Big ass.
Maybe Botswana?
Maybe
Botswana's kind of...
if you zoom into South Africa on a map, there's like a country like...
Lesotho? Lesotho? Lesotho?
That's
it's
a country. They got screwed, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what that's fucking all about, actually, I think about it.
It's almost like the Vatican in Italy, right? It's like this one, it's surrounded by one country. It's like, oh, I guess I can't leave this place if I wanted to, you know?
I know. I gotta call my friend there, Shanae. I gotta see what's going on with her. I don't know.
She a fan of the show?
I gotta go back there. What?
She a fan of the show?
I don't know. I don't know. She's very. I don't know. She's a strange girl. She's a great girl. You've heard. She sounds very British. You heard her voice on my voicemail once.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's like Africa seems like a very exotic place. It's like, but there's so much of it. Like if you know what I mean. Like if you went there, like you're like there's so. But they're all different pieces too. Like where we were is like very Americanized, almost like very English, I guess you could say, because it was a colony for England for all those years.
Yeah, a lot of German too. Namibia has a lot of German.
Yeah, I think Germans took like all those like European countries had claimed territory. But then if you go like northeast, you get into northeast, you get into like Egypt and stuff, more Arabian, and then you get Morocco on the other side, and then in the middle you have like jungle. That's like fucking crazy shit. I can't imagine that. There's a TV show on it's not on Netflix, it's on stupid Apple TV, which is stupid because no one subscribes to it. But it's who the fuck is it? It's a celebrity, and he started at the tip of South America, and they're driving to LA. And it's called like the trip or the pass. I forget who the actor is. It's but they flew to like the tip of Uruguay, whatever that is, or Chile, down in the end of South America, and their goal is to use an electric motorcycles. Maybe if you Google electric motorcycle trip to LA, I can figure out who it is. They basically are starting in the tip of like Chile and riding these electric motorcycles all the way to LA. And it's a TV show they were doing for Netflix. And over the Panama Canal, through Mexico, through all the jungles and stuff. And it seemed pretty cool.
LA Fly Rides, performance. Pedal or Not. There's just a lot of things about these kind of bikes. No, I can't find the show though.
TV show from
TV series. Long Way Up.
Maybe.
Long Way Around. I see a lot of Long Way.
Long Way Up. This might be it. Long Way Up. Yes, I think it is. And it has Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor is the star of the show. He is.
Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan is starting in Chile and making his way back to LA.
Obi-Wan, you gotta be careful when you're going through Chile. You got those mountains and stuff.
I'll never get some of the advice I got though in Namibia. Going down there's the Kanini River which borders Angola, and we were going down the river. And remember, I'm not part of a tourist group. I'm with a friend, with a lady friend of mine, and like her brother and his friends. Yeah. And I'm basically just told like, just don't die. Don't get killed by crocodiles, because if you die in this water, nothing can be done for you because you're technically in no man's land. The river is like no man's land because you have Namibia and Angola, and they're two completely different places. Yeah. And right on the other side of Angola, you can see the guards with AK-47s standing right there.
That's very confident. That's what I want to hear. You know,
that is right. But then I turned into a screaming little girl when I flipped my kayak or my canoe in croc-infested waters. Yeah. That was not fun.
That sounds like an adventure. Speaking of adventures, we have an author who is on deck right now. Let's bring him in. Jonathan Johnson is a author of 4 titles of children and young adults books, and he's also a kidney health activist. Himself is a 2-time kidney transplant recipient. Holy cow. And it's funny, we talked about either kidneys or liver today, because I had my mother convinced for a very long time that you had donated a part of your liver, and I told her that, and she was like, "Wow, you look good."
Yeah, she asked me about it. Yeah.
It was a very awkward situation.
I'm completely baffled at this point why people believe you.
You and my mother were walking out of the apartment at the exact same time. You couldn't. I mean, this was like the planets were aligned, and you had said, my mother had said to you, because you know how she is. Wow, you look good for after surgery. And I wish I could view this from afar to see your reaction and see what you said and how you like your facial reaction, how you react to this.
No, probably how I know how I react, exactly how I react to you when you say something like that. I go, no. What are you talking about?
I probably would have been different. Say you told your mother something about me like that, right? And me and your mother were walking in and she said, well, you look really good for just having surgery. I'd probably say, well, thank you. And like, not like, I'd just be like, oh, maybe she has mixed up with someone else and then kind of let it go and not think much of it. But, I mean, but you really, my mother.
I should have played along. It's just a knee-jerk reaction for me to go, no, when it comes to Arty said.
She immediately called me up and she's like, you're a fucking asshole.
What's going on with John Johnson?
John Johnson is on deck. He should be joining us shortly.
Oh, he's not pulling yet. Okay.
About the miracle of the Zoom. The Zoom. We get people from all around the country. Imagine if we had to go and tell them to come and meet us in Cambridge at our old radio station.
You know, I could come there some night and do the show like sitting next to you. I could.
Yeah, I think we'll get to that point very, very shortly.
I'm not sure if I want to do it every week though, because I have to drive there after work with you after seeing you all day.
Me and you went out. I think it was like 14 consecutive days of seeing each other. A couple.
Yeah,
weeks.
we're like tip to tip practically.
Yeah. It's a good thing we're back to back in the office. You know what I mean? It's one thing if we're sitting next to. Imagine we were facing each other like in the old school like. Well, I heard a rumor you're getting moved next to me. Is that true?
I didn't know that. Just Joe's plan. Apparently, I didn't know that. He's like, I want to move Adam over there next to Arty.
Yeah, I heard a rumor.
I guess that makes sense. You and me looked at each other like, what?
I heard your name and I heard moving to Sherry's computer. So apparently you'll be rooming over there with me. You get a better view. You get a very nice view with that seat.
Yeah. Plus, it saves me actually, no, I lose footsteps. I lose steps because then I'm walking over there. I walk over there. So
you don't get your foot counts.
I don't get my foot counts. No.
Let's see. We got Landon Johnson. I think he's having some technical difficulties.
I thought it was John Johnson.
It is. I think he's trying to join us with a different account here.
Whose character is named Landon?
Landon Calrissian. No,
Landon. That's his book. He's connecting.
John, are you joining us? I think that's.
There we go. I think it's in.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, man. How you doing? Welcome to the
Okay. What's going on, guys?
This is John, right? I just got thrown off because Landon Johnson when you were joining us in.
Yeah, man. Landon is my son.
Oh, that's also the character's name in your book, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes, sir. It is. Yeah.
Nice.
Where are you? Where are you joining us tonight from?
I am in Dallas, Texas. I'm in a small suburb called DeSoto, Texas, which is about 10 miles south of Dallas.
All right, nice and warm there. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was a brisk 85 today. That's a break for us. Normally, it's still in the hundreds at this time of year. So yeah, it's a break. We're doing okay with that.
Texas is a hot state.
Most definitely, man.
I remember going down there in Dallas. And I went to a Rangers game in the middle of like July. And they told me they can't start the day games till 5 o'clock at night because of the intense heat. It's just ridiculous.
Because of the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy thing, man, it's hotter on the field than it is in the stands.
That's crazy. You guys get a dome now, though. You get that brand new stadium you can't use yet, so that's always good.
You know what? They are playing games in the stadium. They just have like the big pop-up figureheads that are in the seats.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as fans, man, we're not allowed in right now. So yeah, unfortunately.
I heard there's a proposal for the World Series to be played there, and like a bubble type thing.
Yeah, it's actually going through. We got the notification today. Where I think ESPN and a couple of local outlets here that said that the World Series will be here. So yeah, man, we're most definitely excited about that.
That'd be nice. It's a good. The bubble seems to be working in sports. I mean, it's working in basketball. I mean, as far as we know, right? We don't really know if
we don't
has anything, right? But they're not going to tell us, I don't think. But it is what it is.
Most definitely.
Thank you for joining us tonight. So we're reading over your bio a little bit. So you're an author, and one of the things I've seen was you're a 2-time kidney transplant recipient.
Yes, sir.
Christ. Did you get
Yeah, man.
so tell us a little bit about that. Were you born with a situation that you had to get one, or was it like an accident or something happened?
Well, the odd thing, well, not necessarily the odd thing, but the background about my health, it actually started when I was in high school. To keep it, short and simple, I was in off-season basketball towards the end of my freshman year of high school, and we were running some defensive drills, and all of a sudden my body went numb from head to toe, and so I just kind of froze there. So my coach said, "Hey man, go ahead and go to the nurse's office. Let's see what's going on." And she takes my blood pressure, and the blood pressure comes back as 155 over 100. And the first thing she tells me is, she says, "I'm surprised you haven't had a stroke yet." And so that doesn't make me feel good.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, most definitely. Keep in mind, I'm still like 14 years old.
Right? Yeah.
And so she said, "I need to call your mother to see what our next move is going to be." Long story short, she calls my mother. My mom comes and gets me, and she takes me to this 24-hour clinic that's not far from where we were living at the time. And so they gave me a Z-Pack and some blood pressure pills.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the doctor there. He told me, he said, "I have a good feeling from what I'm seeing with his symptoms that the issue is his kidneys." But of course, with those clinics back then, they didn't have the technology that they have now. So he wasn't able to do full-on X-rays and things like that.
Now
So
you were 14. How long ago was this? What year was this?
this was this was 2000.
Okay, so 20 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot has changed.
A lot has changed, yes. And so he says, from what I'm seeing, it's probably a situation with your kidneys. We're just not exactly sure.
Mhm.
He says, "Take this Z-Pack, take these blood pressure pills for 3 days, come back and see me, and we'll see how you're doing then." So literally, I take those pills for 3 days. I come back, and my blood pressure has not moved. It's literally still 155 over 100.
Damn.
And so he says, "Okay," he says, "I'm more than certain it's your kidneys now." He said, "We got to get you to a medical facility." Well, things got crazier because my mom reached out to Children's Medical Center here in Dallas. And what they told her at the time was, as far as the kidney division, was that there was going to be a 3-month wait before I could even get in.
Wow.
And my mom said, "That's not going to work. He'll be dead by that time."
Yeah.
So unbeknownst to us, one of the factors that played in our favor was that when I was born with a heart murmur.
Okay.
And so when I played sports, I never went to the regular doctor. I went to my cardiologist for any type of physicals because of the heart condition.
Okay.
And so my mom, funny enough, she had the bright idea. She said, "I'm going to call your heart doctor." She calls the heart doctor. I get in the very next day, and keep in mind, I'm there for 2 days straight, just doing tests and X-rays. And then it comes back that it is the kidneys. And even at that time, my kidneys were functioning at 30%.
Wow.
And so as far as my doctor, obviously with him being a cardiologist, his only knowledge as far as his knowledge only ran so deep. But the blessing of the situation was he actually walked myself and my parents over to the kidney division and got us checked in right there. So that 3-month wait, we were able to bypass.
You would have been dead. You wouldn't have survived.
Exactly.
Jesus.
And so, I finally get checked in, and we're going over tests and everything like that. And I was able to stay off of dialysis for that first year I say the first 10 months, give or take, of the situation. And then my kidney function dropped to around 15%. Now, the odd thing with my situation is that I'm also adopted. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason why that's a major factor, especially dealing with organs, is because the doctors want you to get in contact with the next of kin to see if a match can be made with a family member.
Okay.
Well, at the time, we had no communication with anybody on my biological side. So our homework went from not only fighting for my life, but also trying to find my biological mother.
Wow.
Well,
So did
my mom,
you know you were adopted at this point, or this is something that you
yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I knew. And the funny thing with that story is, man, I found out when I was around 12.
Okay.
My parents sat me down and they said, "Well, look, things aren't necessarily what they seem, but they are what they are."
Mm-hmm.
And they broke the news to me then. And funny enough, man, when I was 11 or 12, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I'm adopted. I got my parents, I got my siblings, I got my life. I'm cool. I'll deal with that, whenever the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
Had no idea that 2 years later the time would come. that it was, that's gonna be major impactful. So my mom goes into straight investigation mode, and she finds my biological mom within 72 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
And, yeah.
And this was in 2000. Right? We didn't have no Facebook, no MySpace. Like all you had,
Done.
barely had the internet at this point.
Exactly. I kid you not, man. She found her in 72 hours.
Wow.
And so,
It's good detective. Good detective.
Real good, right? And so, like, her and my father, they reach out to her and they say, hey, man, Jonathan's going through this situation, and we need to see if you're a possible match. Well, it turns out she wasn't a match. So, finding that out not only put more stress on me as a 14, 15-year-old, but now I'm having to balance school, social life. I'm having to balance not only knowing that I'm adopted, but being introduced to this total side of a family that I know nothing about, and then trying to fight for my life, and then still trying to stay sane with my everyday family, if you will.
Yeah.
And so it was a tough journey. I had to grow up overnight, literally, because of everything I had to deal with at one time. So long story short, I ended up getting a call for a kidney on July 4th weekend of 2000.
Okay.
And so we thought that everything was going to go pretty quickly with this thing. Well, funny enough, my anesthesiologist, he said, the next time you wake up, you'll wake up in ICU. I said, okay, cool. I woke up, but I wasn't in ICU. I was in a regular hospital bed. I didn't feel any pain. I didn't have any IVs. I had nothing. And then when I finally kind of came to, I saw my mom and her look on her face, my father, and I had a couple of cousins and aunts there as well too. Turns out, the nurses put the kidney in the refrigerator versus the freezer. The reason why this is important, for those who may not know,
Yeah.
an organ has to be frozen.
Yeah.
You put it in the fridge, otherwise it'll spoil.
So a perfectly good kidney gone to waste.
Perfectly good kidney. When I say perfect, they were like, yeah, man, this kidney was like tailor-made for you.
Wow.
And my surgeon, yeah. And so my surgeon, he comes in, he said, look, he said, I'll be honest with you. He said, I know that you're waiting for this. He said, but I wouldn't be doing you justice putting a spoiled kidney in you, knowing that in so many months or even a year, you'll be right back in this position, if not worse.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know
it's
what I mean?
horrible, dude.
Yeah. And so needless to say, I had to take that. Right. Yeah. And so, we go home that night, and then unbeknownst to me, a couple of months later is when I finally end up on dialysis. And so I'm on dialysis for 2.5 months. And with my journey, it's something about holidays that sticks out, because the next call that we got was on Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
And now we're fast forwarding to 2001. I got a call Thanksgiving weekend. And that year we were set to host Thanksgiving. So family and friends are coming over and everything else. And my doctor calls me like at 8:30 in the morning. He said, what are you guys doing? I said, and my mom is like, well, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner. He said, drop it. We have a kidney. Come now.
Damn.
And so my mom and my dad are on the phone on the way to the hospital with relatives saying, hey, they got a kidney for Jonathan. We got to cancel the plans. You guys figure out something else.
Yeah.
And needless to say, man, at this time when I woke up in ICU. And it was the greatest pain ever, should I say.
I was going to say, yeah, it's one pain you'd be welcoming to have many, many times over.
Most definitely. Yeah, it was the greatest pain ever. And so that kidney lasted 16 years. Well, about 16 and a half. And the crazy thing is, man, what made the kidney fail was actually due to a bowel obstruction.
Okay.
And for those who may not know what a bowel obstruction is, it's whenever your small intestines gets entangled with some scar tissue. So that way nothing can pass through.
Okay.
Now keep in mind, 13 days after the first surgery, I had a small incision in my stomach because I had a lot of swelling in my stomach. Doctors couldn't figure out why. And so they go in and they're looking around and they look to the left and they say, well, his appendix is about to rupture anyway. So let's go ahead and cut down and take the appendix out.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you guys, it hurts more having something taken out of you versus something put in you. Okay.
Damn.
And so, as far as the pain was still by far the worst pain I ever felt in my life. But because of that bowel obstruction, 16 years later, the scar tissue had knotted up with my small intestines.
Wow.
And now keep in mind, at this time, I'm 33 now, at this time, or 32. So again, like you said earlier, things have changed. I'm now married at this time, and I have 2 kids at this time. So I'm in a whole different space than what I was the first time as a child. And so my wife literally stayed with me all night as I vomited all over the place to the point where I was throwing up blood because nothing could pass.
Yeah.
And she got me to the ER the next day, and they said, "Look, we got to get you to emergency surgery like now." So the blessing was they were able to save the small intestines, but the kidney failed. So I had to go through that process all over again for 2 years. And, you know, as far as the blessing is, we made 2 years with this kidney this past July.
Wow.
We made 2 years with this kidney. And so my wife went from being mother and wife and 9-to-5 worker to nurse as well too, because I did my treatments at home.
Okay.
Because our sons had like no time with me whatsoever. And so, you know, the blessing was we had the option to come home and do the treatments. And so we did that. And like I said, we did that for 2 years. We got a phone call and it said, hey, and matter of fact, we were in church and it was on Sunday at all days. So
Jesus, literally.
literally, man. And so we rushed down and we had a second transplant. And keep in mind, man, just to sum it up, the first time I was in a hospital for a month and a half. This time I was in the hospital for 4 days.
Wow.
And I was back home because the kidney woke up even before they sewed me up. And so I was literally back home in 4 days, man. So yeah.
So when you get a transplant, it's I don't know, it was years of you have to take you have to take medicine, right? All the time to keep it from rejecting. Is that how it works?
Correct. Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
How long does the average kidney last after it's been transplanted? Like, I do know a few people who've had a kidney transplant and they've said like, yeah, eventually I have to get another one, but like I don't know how long that is. I never asked before, you know.
See, and that's crazy, Adam. The funny thing is, the average is 4 to 5 years.
Wow.
The first time I was able to triple it. I was blessed for 6 years. This time we've already surpassed 2 years already. And so the average is 4 to 5, but it's a lot of small things that play big factors like blood type.
Yeah.
Also the medicine you take, if you have any other type of conditions, you know, diabetes, anything like that or whatever. For my situation, it was strictly kidney failure, nothing else. You know, and even at this point, I work out all the time. You know, so my wife's my workout partner. We work out probably 5 or 6 days a week because a lot of people think when you get that transplant that you're set, not realizing that you truly have to maintain it, not only with the medicine you take, but also with the food you eat, how you operate, how much water you're drinking, things of that nature there. And so the funny thing is, a lot of people don't believe me, but I never had alcohol in my life because I wasn't able to.
You
know what I mean? So, you know, from what I heard, I don't miss out on anything. So,
yeah,
I'm cool.
That's actually probably going to help you in the long run too.
That's why you tripled it.
Your liver's having a conversation if your new kidney's saying, "Thank God," because you know otherwise the liver would have been, you know, who knows? Because all that stuff. I mean, so I'm a big activist on being an organ donor. I've never met anyone. So when I was a kid, I had a friend who his brother was born, and he was born with a bad liver. And he was able to push it through, and then he got to about the point, I was in middle school, he was like in 5th grade, 6th grade. The mother was going to give a piece of her liver and, you know, try to get things going, but he had passed away before that could happen. And ever since I was a kid, it was kind of, you know, being 11, 12 years old, you're thinking to yourself, you know, he would have survived. He couldn't find a match for a liver. That was the thing. He had some rare blood type or some situation that was making it easy. And I had a conversation with my mother, and she's like, well, you know, that's why you can be a organ donor in a situation of this. You know, if something happens to you and, you know, you're able to, you know, say it's something that the rest of your body's okay, that you're able to provide life for many people who need the stuff that's still good in you. You know, it's like she tried to describe it as going to a used car lot that you had a perfectly good car sitting there, but the piece, you know, the car was rusted out, but the pieces were still good. You know, you could use things, right? So when I became 16, I got my license. I became an organ donor right off the bat. Nice. And because God forbid, you know, if something happens to me, hopefully, you know, I could be able to keep life going for someone else. You know,
most definitely.
You get those urban legends. I remember the biggest urban legend was, you know, if you get in a car accident, they're not going to revive you. That was the big one that going on. Like,
I've heard that.
I remember. Yeah.
Like,
most definitely.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. It's like, really, you're gonna have some paramedic sitting there saying, "Oh, well, we can't do anything for this guy."
Right.
But kidneys are very, oh God, I hear so many stories about kidneys, and it's like, you know, you're blessed with 2 of them, but in your case, both of them failed. And
Right.
now you're on your fourth, essentially, when you think about
Technically,
it.
right? Technically, right. Yeah.
So you grow. So when did you start? Was your writing books inspired by your experiences, or was it kind of something to pass the time while you were trying to get your mind off all this?
You know what the funny thing is, it was actually both. I started writing when I was around 18 or so, and the way it came about was because, as I mentioned before, dealing with a brand new side of family, dealing with a new transplant, trying to come out of high school on time, and everything else like that. I needed a way to get my thoughts out. And so my parents bought me a journal, and I was literally writing every day in the journal, every night in the journal, because it was some new emotion every day,
Yeah.
right? And eventually those journals turned into books. And you know what I ended up doing was I took a break by the time I graduated high school. So by the time I was 18, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna write anything anymore because I've missed so much time because of dialysis, because of surgeries, because of just being out of pocket and everything like that. So I was already in the process of writing my first book by the time I was 20, but I took a secondary break to enjoy college,
Mhm.
right? And but as far as the first book, I didn't pick it back up until I turned 25.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I just didn't want to deal with it. You know, I said I'm having fun, I'm kind of living, I'm free, I'm cool. And you know, funny enough, man, my mentor, he told me, he said, you know, with everything you've been through, you need to write a book. And then like 2 weeks later, someone else that I knew said the same thing as well too. And then my doctor, when I went for a checkup, he said the same thing. And so I'm like, okay, so that's 3 or 4 people saying the same thing. Maybe you need to look into this thing, right?
No kidding, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went back, and like I said, I'm 25 now, and I started writing a book again. And what benefited me was that so much stuff had happened from the time of 18 to 25. I had a lot more to write about.
Mhm.
So by the time I turned 26, I released the first book, which was an autobiography about everything I had to deal with along the way. And the funny thing is, man, we sold pretty well with that book. It was my first time. It was trying to figure out the marketing schemes behind it and everything else like that, right?
Yeah.
But that's initially how I got started into it. Was to get everything I was thinking and feeling, off my mind. So that's how I got started.
Damn. So I'm assuming a lot of your books, or they pretty much based on real life experiences, one way or another. Kind of just
Yes,
that's
yes,
which is the best way to write, I guess, because that's
most definitely.
you get a lot of facts. You know it's gonna be true.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's the thing you mentioned, marketing right there with the books. I know a couple of people who are trying to write books and they put it up there, and it's the marketing. It's the people in the big companies don't really give a crap sometimes about the actual story. It could be a great story, but they look at it as a business, right? Like, how can I sell this?
How can I sell it?
But there's a lot of companies now that kind of make you the salesperson, right? Like you go and you can they'll provide the the printing and all that stuff, but you're allowed to still get these things printed, and you just kind of got to market it on your own.
Right.
If that's the case, then yeah, why not? Then you don't have to go through a middleman. You don't have to worry about
Exactly.
because the worst thing would be, like, for your example, right? You're writing these books based on real life experiences, right? So you go and you present it to a publishing house, right? And they go, well, you need to change X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
I want to
Yeah.
change X, Y. It's you
Yeah.
the story up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's awesome. So how many books? You have 4 books right now?
I have 4 books out right now. I have a 5th one that's in the works right now that I'm hoping, if everything goes according to plan, it should be out by the end of October.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to get some stuff situated with that. I'm not quite done with that project, but yes, right now I have a total of 4 that's out right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm kind of looking at your most recent one, the yearbook here, and I'm like, yep, that sounds like 8th grade to me. Like trying to talk to girls and just playing sports, and I'm like, yep, this, yeah.
It's
the awkwardness of it, and just
And see, man, the crazy thing about that is keep in mind, I have 2 sons. My oldest one is 12. So he's in that phase now.
Oh, yeah. It's the worst.
You see what I'm saying?
Life.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
Middle
he's
school's
in that
horrible.
phase now. And so I've talked to him, saying one-on-one, father and son, like, if you see a girl that you like, this is how you approach her.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife has done the same, because obviously she comes from the opposite end.
Yeah.
But of course, he doesn't believe me.
No, of course not.
That everything works. And I'm like, well, how do you think that I've been married to your mother for so long?
Yeah.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, what like a lot of people don't know, unless you've met, like some of my people in person, is that I took certain people in life, as you mentioned, real life, and those are my cover photos.
Okay.
So like, prime example, Adam, as far as that cover that you're looking at, so the guy that's sitting on the ball, that's actually me in 8th grade, right? So my artist took the headshot, and he made it a cartoon version. The other guy in the basketball jersey that's standing up spinning the ball.
The guy who's spinning the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my cousin Scooter.
Oh, all right.
And so back then he had the fro like that and everything like that, right? The kid that's in the band is actually my oldest son, Trey.
Oh, that's awesome.
I implemented his face into it, and then ironically enough, the girl that's in the photo, that's actually my wife.
That's
and so that's how I did it. I figured, again, like you said to keep it at home base, to give it some familiar faces. And honestly, man, I had a lot of fun with that book because, again, like you said, everything in that book is literally real life. I was that kid that I could see a girl and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna say to her.
Yeah.
Yep,
Every guy. Yeah. 99% of us, unless you're the 11-year-old kid getting laid by a teacher, none of us know what the hell we're doing.
No, man. A whole different era that we're in now.
All right, absolutely. It's
so
it's even harder these days, I can imagine, with everything else the kid's gonna deal with too. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would never want to go back to that.
Nah, man. See, and that was a good reason for the book too, man. Was to keep things simple, man. Because the one thing I'm sure all of us can agree on, like, kids are growing up extremely fast now, versus whenever we were coming up. You know what I'm saying? We were able to take our time. We were still able to play outside. We were still able just to hang around, just have true good fun.
Yeah.
I mean, same way like you mentioned before. We didn't have social media.
Yeah.
We didn't have all of these extra distractions that would take our attention away from outside and things like that or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I started writing the project, I said, man, I want to make it as simple as possible. And what let me know that we were going in the right direction, it was a lady out of Georgia. She bought the book, and she posted her. She bought the book for her daughter. She posted a photo, and she said her daughter finished the book in 2 days. And so I said, we're on the right track, because of course, remind you, the hardcover version of the book, I believe, is pushing 200 pages, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And so for her to finish it in 2 days, I said, okay, so we're on to something.
Yeah.
And then we're getting a lot more reviews about the book, and I've even had some parents say, yeah, I was the main character in the book.
That's funny.
That was me when I was coming up. And I said, okay, cool. So we own to something. People can relate, because the idea with my storytelling is to have the parent and the kid to be able to talk at the end of the day. For me personally, it does no good for me to write a book that a kid can't talk to their mother or father about. It doesn't do any good for me. And so the full objective is for that kid to be able to talk to the mother and the father and say, man, this book was so fun, and we felt this way about it and that way about it and everything else. And so yeah, man, it was a fun project. Here soon, I'll probably start on volume 2, but I'm not exactly sure when that's gonna take place. I got to finish this other book first, and then from there we'll for sure dive into that.
It's good that you said, as you mentioned, keeping it simple, which I think is extremely important, especially today, because let's face it, because of all these advances in technology, like, people's attention span is like gone. Yeah. It's horrible. I feel like that is a serious drawback of technology, where people just, they're gone. They're out of it. It's on to the next thing. If they're not, if they feel they don't either get it, they just give up, or they just move on. And that's great that you recognize that.
And that's how I knew we were in trouble as far as a people, if you will, is because, again, like I said, my oldest boy is in 7th grade, and his school doesn't have shop class. I said, what you mean you don't have shop class? He said, no, man, we never heard of shop class. I said, what? Yeah. And so I told my wife or whatever, I said, no, man, we got to figure this thing out. Because, of course, whenever we were in school, we had shop class. So if you didn't know how to change a tire, you learned in school.
Yeah.
So by the time you started driving, if you had a flat, you know how to change that tire, right? They don't have home ec classes where prime example, if you want to show off your cooking skills, you could in home ec class.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, yeah, this shit is not going to work, man. So I've already been kind of plotting and planning some things. Again, like I said, to keep it simple, but also to keep it fundamental. It's nothing worse than, in my mind, than raising a kid and sending him out in the world, and he can't even change his own tire.
You're smart because there's a generation. We're about the same age. We kind of grew up around the way. I'm 36. Adam's 37. We're like we're in the same stuff. So we knew we kind of grew up and we kind of had both the mix of the old school and the new school,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So the generation that that's the next generation. I wouldn't say our children, but the between our children and ourselves. So like
Most
the
definitely.
10-year-olds now, say, right, and or 50 kids in high school. I guess you could say
Right.
safely, right? These kids are going into the world clueless.
Clueless.
And
Yeah.
it's up to us as 30-something-year-olds with small children to make sure that doesn't happen, because
Right.
we know we're seeing it right now, right? The people who are going to take over after us, they don't have the realistic idea of how society works in a sense, right? They don't know how to do
Right.
things on their own. They're so obsessed about certain things. So I feel like now that we've seen this happen, and now it's our job, because I got a 9-month-old, is
Okay.
to
Congratulations, man.
make sure he and your children, I'm sure you're thinking the same way, is to make sure that they know they were raised like we were raised, right?
Right.
And they were like, all right, well, this is going to happen. This is the things you're going to have to deal with. And sometimes you're going to have to work a little bit, because I feel like the generation between the kids and us don't know the work thing. They don't know, and they think it's, they handed, here you go, here's the car, here's your cell phone. Not that you got to get a job at the mall and pay your car insurance. Otherwise, you don't get a car.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Simple things like that, but when you think about it, when you become an adult, you're responsible. You're learning responsibility.
Right.
It starts with a phone, it starts with insurance, gas money, right? But then it turns to rent, or college or a mortgage, So it's like I'm scared because these, and we work with them. You probably encounter them all the time. They just don't know, so
Right.
these kids need books like you're writing to tell about your story, because the kids growing up now have to be like, all right, we get it. We got to save this country.
Right. One way or another.
Right.
Most definitely.
Damn,
Yeah.
John, it was nice talking to you. Where can we get your books? Where can people go and buy these things?
Most definitely. Yes, sir. So for anyone interested, they can check out my website. It's going to be johnsonbooks.org.
Okay.
Johnson, JOHNSON, books, BOOKS.org. And all books are available on the site.
Awesome. And you get your 5th book coming out, you said, sometime in a month or so, right? A couple months?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if everything goes according to plan, that'll be out at the end of October, early November.
Awesome. Well, John, it was awesome talking to you tonight. People go out there, buy his book. They're real experiences. I mean, you can't beat that. It's fiction, but not fiction, right? It's like based on a true story. Those are the best movies ever, right? Just think of all of the movies we've ever seen. Those are the best ones because it's basically the real stuff. So, but awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you for sure. It's nice meeting you.
Stay in touch.
Man, same here, guys.
I'd like to
Most
hear.
definitely.
Good luck with everything health-wise, and hopefully
Thank you, man.
keep on trekking, man.
Most definitely. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, man.
No problem. Have a good night, man.
All right, you too, guys. Be safe.
All right, everybody. It was John Johnson from Dallas. Damn, that's a story and a half, Adam.
I know. Anytime I hear it breaks my heart, because it's like you hear when people get like kidneys or any kind of organ transplant, and everybody thinks like, oh, this is over. Like I got a transplant, but no, you have to take medication the rest of your life, and you're probably gonna have to get it again.
It's like that's the thing I didn't realize. I guess I learned today was the shelf life on an implant is it's not a lot.
Margot's brother is a kidney transplant recipient. Yeah, he has to get another one in a couple of years. Like,
that's amazing to me.
Yeah, it's insane.
What I guess the promising thing out of all of it is now that we have they invented the artificial heart, right? So now one can get a fake heart put into their bodies that, it's I don't know how long it lasts.
Yeah, that would scare me. I would have to.
No, but at least it's like one of those things where it's like you can buy it off the shelf, right? So it's not like you have to worry about someone dying before you got a heart, right? So you can get an artificial heart put into you. And if it lasts 3 years, well, you're just buying – it's like buying tires for your car, right? Every couple of years you buy a new one, which to me as a person who would need that would feel like, all right, well, at least I could buy it when I need it. You know what I mean? But like something like a kidney, which like the kidney and the liver, they haven't really figured out the filtration system of the human body yet to make it artificial. Or if they haven't figured it out enough. Like I know they can grow organs and stuff. Like I've seen like documentaries, but I think we're probably a decade away from that.
Yeah, we're not 100% there for sure.
Yeah, but I mean that's a scary thing to know that it's like driving around. I hate to compare your body to a vehicle, But I mean, it's essentially driving around with like a piece of your car that you know that's going to fail on you soon, but you don't know when it's going to fail and when the worst.
Exactly.
Or if you're going to have the means to replace that piece.
And, you know, in a way, I think I'd rather have like a pig heart than an actual like artificial one. It sounds ridiculous, but here's the thing: it's like you don't want to fuck around with your head and your heart. But it's like I think of like computers, and well, I've had computer problems before. Like all these man-made things that have broken down.
Yeah.
I don't want that to break down. You know what I mean? So it's like I'd rather trust a pig heart.
And that basically puts you a step closer to being a bionic person. You know what I mean? You start getting man-made parts put into you. It's like maybe
part Terminator.
Maybe Ted Williams' kids had the right idea when they froze his head. You know what I mean? Like maybe at some point, 50 years from now, we can have a robotic Ted Williams.
Well, that's just fucking weird. And then they were like, remember those reports that like part of it like defrosted or something like that?
Good. I think that from talking to John earlier, the fucking kidney put in the wrong facility. They put it in the fridge instead of the freezer. That's a holy fuck.
That sounds like a lawsuit.
I mean, that is a freshly killed person, essentially, right? One way or another, whether it was natural causes or more or less a car accident or something like that, that they had donated their organs for another person with the intent, if anything ever happened to them, and the malpractice of the hospital or wherever they were to not, efficiently take care of the organ. That just seems like the irresponsibility of that person. I mean, that's a fireable offense right there. I mean, just think about that. I mean, think about if you were like working a job and like your only job was to like, make sure the president didn't get shot, but you were drinking a coffee at the time and he looked the other way and he got shot because you weren't paying attention. I mean, it's like you're dealing with a life. I mean, that could have been his life right there.
Sure.
Right? Holy shit.
Damn.
If you just joined us on the Arty 84 show, we just talked to John Johnson, a author of 4, soon to be 5, young adult books pretty much about his life. They're fiction, but with based on a true story, I guess you could say is probably the safe way to talk about it. And a survivor of kidney transplants, which for me, that moves everything over there. Oh God, I'm still going to be thinking about this one. This is 2 weeks in a row. We had people who survived, the Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
We know that Grim Reaper. Yeah, he's high. He's just walking around, walking into doors. The Grim Reaper is what I meant to say. Maybe
I'm gonna remember that one for a while. That's a good one. I'm gonna remember that.
He used to grab the Grim Reaper too because he said never did any drugs or alcohol. So that's.
You just gave me an idea for a great Halloween costume. I'll tell you that.
It's gonna be all dressed in green, right?
Yeah, but like still the costume, but all in green.
Awesome. So up next at 9 o'clock, we should be getting comedian Michi Hall. He was supposed to join us last week, but I'm not. I guess there was a situation. But it's 9 o'clock now.
Yeah, I think. Wait, Magna was supposed to join us at 9:30, so we're going to 10.
Well, I think Magna was probably. I think they told him 9:15. I think we just skipped him off because we're gonna get Michi, but I think we're just gonna join him at the same time when they do come. So when they do come on the Arty 84 show,
man,
I would like to take this time right now to ask the ladies who are watching the show to, if they're listening to it on a speaker that they may have for a stereo system in the house, to just sit on the speaker real quick. Boo. You all know that's from one of my favorite movies called Private Parts. Do you remember that scene?
Oh, I remember that, yes.
How it is on the radio and how
great movie.
Telling the girl who's calling him up to sit on the speaker of a very 80s version of a stereo system and to turn the bass all the way up and to sit on
great movie.
Great movie. Someday, that's it. Go back to John. It's funny talking about 2000, right? Like for me and you, it seems like it was yesterday, but it was really 20 years ago, right? I mean, but while we were living it, everything was pretty advanced at the time. Like we had cell phones, we were in high school. Like it wasn't like weird.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, a lot of I realize not a lot of fashion has changed. Like there have been changes, but like
Yeah.
there wasn't as big of a gap. Like between the 80s and 90s, huge gap in
Oh,
fashion.
big time. Yeah, yeah.
And even early 90s
Yeah.
into 2000, yeah. But now I feel like it hasn't
Yeah.
changed.
So the kids are still wearing stuff that we wore when in high school, you know, jeans and t-shirts, and like, you know, like you get the flannel sometimes, and like, yeah, the fashion. I don't
Yeah.
call myself a fashion connoisseur at any stretch of the imagination. The t-shirt I'm wearing right now, I got my junior year of high school. It still fits me.
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how often I change clothes. I throw away clothes when I get holes in them. I don't like to buy. I don't usually buy
I'm the same
clothes,
way.
right? So when I can't fit into them anymore, it's usually I go through a couple pairs of jeans a year because I wear them 75% of the time of the year. You know what I mean? But the t-shirt, like the t-shirt I'm wearing right now, you couldn't tell I got this in 2001, right? I mean, who would know? But
I'm sure
I
there's
agree.
been some changes, but not the gaps. What I'm talking about
It's
aren't
weird
the same.
because
You know?
the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and like you said, the early 90s have a very unique like timestamp of the clothes they're wearing. And you could go back into like early 2000 movies and see what the kids are wearing in those, and it's not much off what the kids are wearing.
Not
these
much
days.
off. No.
I wonder why that is. I wonder if we just finally accepted the fact that this is what people should wear. And I don't know. It's like
Nothing new.
I mean, other than Lady Gaga wearing like meat for a you know, so you have an extreme situation like her, but like for the most part, I think things have pretty much been the same. But like, just think like we talking about earlier. Well, we were googling stuff real quick because we are trying to figure out the name of the fucking movie, or the TV show. And I Apple about the guy, you know, with Ewan McGregor. Going there and traveling South America. But I would have probably went to bed tonight and probably wouldn't have thought of it until, you know, next week what the name of the show was. But we found out instantaneously on the Google machine, which is pretty
Forget it.
And we'll probably forget it again. Yeah. I'll
Because
try like that's the thing I'll do. Like I know you'd probably do the same thing. If like you try and figure something, you hold off as far as possible until you Google it. Like you'll just like push it, you know, and try to see if you can remember it.
Yeah, it's called my daily work life looking at GIS.
Really, the other day I was trying to figure out this kid in high school I went to school with. I couldn't figure out his name for the life of me. I could see his face. I knew where he sat in homeroom. I knew where his locker was. And like I was thinking about him and I was like, what the hell was his name? I'm trying to figure out his name. And I'm like, it's my mind. And then I had a memory lapse. And then like 3 hours later it came to me. I was like, oh shit, that was the name. I was like, but I could have Googled it.
Do you remember stupid, weird little things? Like I remember my freshman locker combination.
Yeah, I remember stuff like that. Yeah,
it's weird how you could forget something that happened 2 days ago, but you remember something that happened. They're so insignificant.
That's actually pretty accurate. I think if you blindfolded me and dropped me into Revere High School, and I've been out for almost 20 years now. If you kidnapped me, dropped me into a random place in the high school, and then and told me to find my locker and to find all my classrooms I ever been into, I could find all my classrooms and I could find my locker with no problem whatsoever.
I could get into the vicinity of my locker, like within a 3-number radius, because they're so close together, 3 or 4. And I know I knew the combination. I still know it's 47-127. I know where it's located. I don't remember the number specifically though.
My locker was 3 lockers off. I don't know the room number, but if I got into the hall, I could tell you where that room was. It was the first room after the fire door on the left. I was 3 lockers over, and I could tell because my high school crush, her last name was 1 letter off of mine, and she was right next to me. So I was tortured through 4 years of high school with my locker next to my high school crush, and she wanted nothing to do with me.
I don't remember my high school locker. I remember my middle school, my 6th grade locker combination. I don't know why just that one.
My middle school locker partners were the following. I had my friend Matt, 7th grade, for half the year until me and him got in a fist fight, and the guidance counselor made us change lockers. So I went with my friend Eddie Lou, who was on the show. He lives out in California. Me and him shared for the rest of 7th grade. And then when 8th grade came, me and good old Joey Monaco became locker partners for all of 8th grade.
Now, do you honestly remember what that fist fight was about?
Yes. Yeah. It was about nothing. It was like a
exactly. Middle school bullshit.
You know how like 12-year-olds are just busting each other's balls all the time kind of thing?
Yep.
Yeah. Like, you know, and then like, but if people would gang up. So one day you'd be ganged up on, the other days you'd be ganging up on someone else, and it'd just be you just be busting people's balls and doing stupid shit like knocking their books off the desk and just being like a cocksucker, just being an asshole. All 12-year-olds are assholes, right? When you think about it, and he's just being an asshole 12-year-old. And then one day, I guess it got to the point where me and him were just kind of got like fisticuffs. Like it was just like we were in I remember biology class, and it got to the point where we just busted each other's balls so many times. Like our tempers were just flaring. All the testosterone was thrown through our bodies. You know, we're all like,
fuck with that.
We're developing young boys just ready to go, right? And all of a sudden, something pissed one of us off. The next thing you know, we're fisticuffs, and we throw punches at each other. And then we get sent to the principal's office, and then the guidance counselor talks to us, and our mothers get sent to school, and they're trying to figure out why we're fighting because they don't know what 12-year-old boys do because they're our mothers, and they never experienced 12-year-old boys before. Now, you and I, if our kids got sent to the school for fighting, we'd understand, well, yeah, the 12-year-old boys, they're going to fight. But our mothers have no fucking clue why they were fighting. They were, you guys are friends. Why are you fighting? They don't understand the dynamics of middle school, right? And then
Better off calling the dad in most cases.
That's what they should have done. They should have called our fathers, and they would have been like, well, all right, you guys cool now?
Boys.
All right, you guys being all right? All right, you're good. And they suspended us for the day. You know, they sent us home.
Yep.
You know, you go back the next day, and we're friends. You know how boys are. Boys don't hold great. Whatever. The next day, you're fine.
Sure.
Sorry, I punched you in the face. Things are good.
My dad would have been like, did anybody have to go to the hospital?
Yeah.
No. All right, they're fine.
Yeah. All right. Throw some fucking dirt on it and call it a day. You know.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it. Rub some Robitussin.
It's funny though, the mentality of like a mother. Like I bet like Sue, like if Henry gets in his first fight, she's gonna be very like, you know, very overprotective.
And that's understandable. That's her baby, no matter what.
And I'm gonna have to explain to her. I'm like, well, but you know, it's what we do. You know, when you're, especially when you're like a teenager, your fucking dick gets hard for no reason, right? And you're seeing these girls, and you don't know how to use. You get the equipment, but you don't know how to use it. It's the frustration behind there, and I can only imagine. I remember like, we were at the age where like internet porn was now a thing.
Yep. Dot matrix printers.
Yeah, exactly. How many fucking naked girls did you print out on a piece of paper that you had to rip the freaking tracks off the side when you tied it?
Quite a few. And my mom found them behind my boom box and called my best friend's mom.
The best was you go to a friend's house and you discover their dad's porn collection. And it's funny too, because when you think about that, like when we're in middle school, say you're 12 years old and you're at your dad's friend's house, or you're at your friend's house and you find their dad's porn collection. Their dads were the same age we are right now. Doesn't that fuck with your mind?
That does fuck with my mind.
Picture having a 12-year-old kid now, right? And then him and his friend snooping around in your office finding your porn. Like that's like, it's now, as I'm like, I watch movies and stuff right now, and like I hear stories when I was a kid, and I go, well, how old were my parents at the time? They were my age right now. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, can you imagine? Like, you know what fucks me up is, who's that kid? Pete, the guy in Saturday Night Live whose father died in 9/11. He's the comedian. Pete, he was dated Ariana Grande.
Peter, no, he's like all over the place.
He was like
Pete Davidson.
He was like 4 or 5 years old when his dad died in 9/11, right? So like, he's probably about 10 years younger than us, right? Give or take. The fucked up story. I was reading some information on his dad. His dad was 33 when he died in 9/11. He was a firefighter in one of the buildings that came down. 33. That's several years younger than you and I. Can you, and like, to put yourself in that situation, it's like, can you imagine being our age or younger going into a fucking building? Like, I mean, that's your job, I guess. I guess you were
7. He was 7
years old. So imagine I'm a 7-year-old. Like, to me, that I think that part of the story fucked me up more than anything else, because I was relating with the dad more than the kid, because I was like, wow, I was his age a couple of years ago, you know?
I think we just cracked a mystery here, Artie. Remember, we always talked about how the hell does this guy get laid constantly? That story right there.
You think so?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it's a terrible, like, I wouldn't want to say, hey guys, go out there and test it at the bars, because that's a terrible story to say you were involved in if you weren't really
sex. It's sad.
If you were involved in a story like that, it'd be worth to find out if that actually works. But you think that really worked with Ariana Grande though?
No, because that lasted like a long term. And same thing with Kate Beckinsale.
He dated Kate Beckinsale?
Yeah.
For real?
Even though she's like 40, but she's still hot.
This guy must have like a fucking dick that's like 2 feet long. Kate Beckinsale was with, who's she with now?
I don't think she's with anybody right now. She is.
Wait, who's the one who's with the picture of the
She's still
Van.
hot.
Who's Verlander with?
He's married to
It's not Kate Beckinsale, is it?
no, the blonde, the busty blonde. Like, I'm not a sex object.
What the hell's her name? She's a
This is
model,
horrible.
like a Victoria's Secret model.
I can see her in my head. She's blonde. Kate Upton.
Oh, all right. I knew it was a Kate.
Yeah.
And Verlander's a fucking ugly individual too. You know what I mean? And me and you are ugly individuals too. It just takes.
Hey!
I'm
I'm
just saying,
sensitive. I'm a Pisces, dude.
we're not. I mean, we're better looking than Pete Davidson. I'll give us that much.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
But someday it's a matter of just I guess love is blind, they say, right? You gotta get that good one and you gotta reel it in,
True.
You missed that as we're waiting for the rest of the guests tonight. Hopefully Ryan Glover.
I don't think they're coming.
We'll give them like 10 more minutes. But today at lunch I since we didn't do our usual lunch walk together, I walked to Tasty Burger.
Oh, you did? Fuck you.
So it took 22 minutes to walk to Tasty Burger. So the inside's closed, the bar's closed. You can't buy alcohol. You can't do anything. You can't drink beer. You can sit inside if you don't want to sit outside, but you have to order through the takeout window.
Okay.
And it was like you looking through the window. It was like a ghost town. Like the bar looked like it was like a restaurant out of business. All the seats were up and stuff. So it took me 22 minutes to walk to Tasty Burger. It was a mile and a half. And I was like, nice. I got a nice mile and a half. But I ate a burger that probably had about 50,000 calories and French fries as I walked back to work and drank a Coke, which was probably so everything I gained in the 3-mile walk round trip was just thrown away. Yeah. But the reason I wanted to walk was because I wanted to check out the progress of the garden and the Charlestown Bridge. So apparently downstairs, when you go to like the garden, there was like a McDonald's and a Dunkin' Donuts downstairs. Yeah. They're actually blowing those walls out. And it's going to be a giant food court with like 13 different restaurants, like really good, cool little fast food restaurants being built right now. So it's going to be like going to Quincy Market when you walk through with all the restaurants on the side, stuff like that. So this is basically going to be underneath the garden. So basically going to a game, you're going to have like 50 different options in that area to eat before, after, during. Like it's like a really cool little thing. It's called what the fuck was it called? I think it was called the underground or something like that. It was like a pretty cool little development they're doing, and it's built in the building that's attached to the garden, which was once formerly the old garden. If you remember that, you would have to be if you're 10 years younger than us, you don't remember the old garden at all.
I just tried to type undergarden, and what came up first was Boston activist helps Kuwaiti trans women.
Well, that's an interesting thing to come from undergarden. That's a little odd, actually. Why would that be related? Someone didn't do their tagging very well, I'm going to say.
Oh,
when they were placing that vlog. Interesting. But so next we'll talk about while we're waiting for Michi Hall. I think he's probably going to be a no-show at this point. I don't see him on, and we're gonna waiting for rapper Magno. What were you gonna say? What were you kept calling him? Magnum.
You're gonna call him Mango.
Mango Garcia.
Magnum Garcia.
We're gonna give him a few more minutes here if they don't join us. We're gonna call it a show. But next week on the show we have musician Ro Jones, who we interviewed 3.5 years ago. It was like the winter of 2017. He came on the Arty and Eric show, and I believe you were there that night.
Probably. 17, definitely.
He was very interesting, that character. Yes, it was. Yes, it was definitely. Yeah, you were definitely there. And then A.D. Jackson. Not quite sure what he does or what he's doing, or if it's a girl. It could be a girl. It could be a guy.
What does Ro Jones do?
He's a musician.
Oh, okay. I was looking at somebody else.
Yeah, he's a rapper, if you will. A.D. Jackson could be a girl, could be a guy, could be Alan Jackson, for all we know, the country singer. We don't know. But Ryan kind of left us with this, so we're going to try to figure it out.
We're going to pull through, and we're going to...
Yeah. I got my quarantine beard going. I'm refusing to shave at this point because I figure why bother shaving when I'm wearing a mask all day?
Sure. I shave once a week. I let it grow, and then I shave it on like Friday, Saturday.
This is like 3 weeks worth on me right now.
That's 3 weeks on you?
I've been cleaning it up a little bit, like up here and like right here on the neck. But when I wear my mask, when I go to like the bar job, you can't even see it anyway. So I'm like, well, but I did notice it is getting itchy a little bit when it's starting to grow a little longer. So I'm gonna probably have to trim it back a little bit. But the fucking mask, man.
Is
What?
it oily yet? Mine's getting kind of oily.
What, the beard?
Yeah, like when you go to use it, it's feel oily.
I end up drying. I have dry skin as it is, so I do a lot of scrubbing. I do a lot of that Neutrogena, face douche, if you will. I really douche it out really well. I use my wife's very expensive, fancy soaps when I'm in the shower, and she's like, "Why are you using my stuff for?" And I'm like,
Do you have a loofah?
Our old apartment had a loofah. I don't think we have a loofah now. I don't know where the loofah went.
Sounds like a Joey thing.
Joe had a loofah.
There it is. See?
Yeah, no, Double Back had I'm fairly certain that the few times I've used the shower when we were living together, he had a variety of loofahs there. I bet Power Hour has a loofah. I'm gonna go in his shower. I'm gonna see what he has down there for.
I would never have a loofah. The only loofah it'd be in my apartment is loofah Vandross because the ladies over.
There you go. That'd be funny if you had a girl over and you were like, listen, I got the night for you. I'm gonna be cooking you dinner. It's gonna be very romantic, and we got live music. And you're like, live music. And you're sitting there in your dining room, you're eating, right? And Luther Vandross sitting over there for karaoke machine, just serenading you through the night. That'd be something to see. I mean, that's something.
Is he still alive? He's still alive, right?
Ooh, I don't actually just recently died. Maybe a few.
What about Barry White? I think I might be getting confused.
Oh, Barry White definitely died. He had like a heart issue. Barry White had the comedian, big black.
He died Luther Vandross died in 05.
He died in 05. I feel like he died yesterday. Okay, so my sense of time is off. Did Barry White died after him, right? It was 2000.
Barry White, 2003.
So he died. So Barry White died, then Luther Vandross died?
Yeah.
And then Bernie Mac died after that. Bernie Mac was in 2008.
Bernie Mac. Did he die of pneumonia? Who died of pneumonia?
Yeah, it was like a lung thing. August of 2008, right? Am I right?
Yeah, August 9th, 2008.
You know how I remember that? I was in orientation for grad school, and I remember someone's like, dude, my brother just texted me. Bernie Mac's dead. And I'm like, what? That's
someone else died. There was someone else, another African-American actor died. Something like, why did he die of that? I can't remember.
Bernie Mac had some like fluid in his lungs. It turned into like concrete. And he couldn't breathe or something like that. I think it was something like horrific like that. He had like a really bad I was gonna say vascular, but it's not vascular.
Gardiosis. Yeah, it's a form of pneumonia. Complications from pneumonia.
Jesus Christ! If he had that now, the corona would definitely take him out.
Oh, big time. He'd be gone.
Jesus Christ! If I had a disease like I meant to ask John about that too, because he's a high risk for the corona. Like if
wow. Yeah, you usually do ask about the corona too. I'm surprised.
I'm trying to push away from the corona because but now I mean that he's probably the one guy we probably should have talked about corona with.
It's true.
I mean we talk about the porn stars about corona, but we don't talk about the guy who possibly have issues because he has someone's kidney that's not his.
True.
Jesus. Oh God. I don't know. I don't think anyone would give me their organ, to be honest with you. I think there's probably people have a list and be like, yeah, don't give it to that guy.
Well, they wouldn't know you. It's like one of those things where, like, you end up on a list and it's years long, and hopefully.
Yeah, but my list has like certain people. I don't want to have the organ. If this person dies, lose my organ, you can't have it. So I say, they're like, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. I can't do anything about it because I'm dead. If you're taking organs out of me, it's probably something bad happened to me. You know what I mean? Like you think they should? How do you feel about this? Here's a situation for you, since we're talking about like that. Prisoners, right? When they die, should the state automatically? I know it's probably a religious thing but like it's a really or like I know some back in the day they would use them for medical research and stuff like that and all that stuff. But like, what's your feel on if a prisoner dies and say they're like our age and they're fairly healthy or something happens or they get stabbed or shot in prison, well, just harvesting their organs?
I get what you're saying, but like at the same time, that's like saying they mean absolutely nothing just because they're in prison. Like, shouldn't their family have a say? I think their family should have a say.
No, I agree. I'm kind of throwing it out there to see because I think a religious thing is also a big issue as well too because I know a lot of coaches don't want you to remove your organs when you pass away because you feel like when you go to the afterlife, you'd be taking a piece of them out of them, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But I know, but back in the day, they used to practice like what they used to call those patients. They have like a weird, funny name, but they used to take like dead prisoners and stuff, and you do tests on them and stuff like that all the time.
They used to do weird shit. But the Egyptians used to take out the brain through the nose.
Yeah,
that's
interesting.
It's fucking weird.
Very, very, very painful, I would say. Imagine getting, oh God, I took 2 corona tests and they stick a friggin' Q-tip up my nose.
That's what James was saying. I'm like, why are you complaining? At least they didn't stick it in your ass.
That's true. That's how they take my temperature every time I go to work on the weekends. They do an anal temperature because they say it's more accurate. But I requested it, so I guess it's my own fault. No, but the COVID test, it's like a giant Q-tip. Then it makes you tear up a little bit because you get the sinuses right up top. But I had a friend who had to get gonorrhea test, and the same Q-tip they use for COVID is the same one they stick in your pee hole.
They don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore.
No,
they don't at all. Nope. They just hand you the pills and say, take these.
But they don't even test for it anymore to make sure.
No, I remember as a precautionary, I was given those once because I was told I was with somebody an ex of mine contacted me once and I tested positive for this. I went to my doctor. He didn't even test me. He's like, he wrote me a prescription. He's like, here, take 5 of these at once and you're done.
So it's like a penicillin or some kind of.
Yeah, it's nothing anymore.
Wow.
I don't even test you.
We have a former co-host that his name will go unannounced, but if you do the figure it out, you can figure it out yourself. Who back in the day told me about the time he got a gonorrhea test and it was the Q-tip in the pee hole, and I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh.
Wait, maybe I don't know. I'm thinking chlamydia actually. I'm thinking chlamydia.
Maybe it's chlamydia. Maybe I don't know which one they do it for.
I don't know about anything about gonorrhea. I'm talking about chlamydia. Yeah.
Gonorrhea, chlamydia. I talked to an old sailor once who told me how to get rid of crabs back in the day. Know what they used to do? They used to make you jump in a gallon of diesel fuel and sit in it for like 15 minutes, and that would kill it naked. Or they would shave half your pubes and set the other half on fire.
I don't know what that.
Yeah, this is like 1950s, 1960s, 1970s old sailor treatments. Because the sailors. Imagine being back in the day before the HIV. Like their only concern was like crabs, or getting a chick pregnant. I guess that was probably the biggest one, right?
Yeah, probably.
Worrying about getting a broad pregnant, and then the crabs. But they didn't have to worry about like the HIV or the hepatitis. Yeah. I'm more afraid of the hepatitis, to be honest with you.
No, but I remember going to that because that's just fucking evil. Like, because here's the thing. I remember I was with this is like just out of high school. This girl I was with, I slept with her. Then I broke up with her. And then her friend, she calls me and tells me that she tested positive for chlamydia and I need to get tested. This is like months later. So I was within the range, so I had to get tested. But then her friend tells me she's full of shit and she's just mad at you because you broke up with her. So I didn't know what was true or not, but that's just fucking evil. If that's not true, that's how evil women can be. It's fucking twisted.
I don't blame you for taking the precautionary measures just in case, but
of course I'm going to the fucking doctor. No, but like my doctor was like, here, prescription, take this, you're fine. And I've been tested since then, obviously. Like that was in fucking right after high school. But like, yeah, that's bullshit.
That's a fucked up thing to do. Girls are
that's a really fucked up thing to do.
Girls do some weird things. Late guys out there, be careful. Girls are cray. They say what they want to say about the men, but the girls are crazy. Hey, one thing I wanted to point out real quick. We'll give it another minute, then we'll probably bring the show down to a conclusion for the night. But let's go touch a little bit about the presidential race real quick. I don't know if you noticed the other day. So Biden and Harris were on this like tour. And there was a little slip up.
What did he say? What did that dipshit say?
So he said the Harris campaign instead of the Biden campaign. Usually the president is the flagship of the campaign. And then Harris said also the Harris campaign in one of her speeches. So now the Democrats are calling it a teleprompter issue. But we were talking about the other day about the possibility of when Biden gets elected, he's just going to step down. Like that's the whole game plan at this point. And this brings a little more evidence that possible conspiracy theory. I know you love your conspiracy theories.
I do.
This whole election is based on conspiracy theories, isn't it? Is it not? I mean,
it is. It's something. Oh God, I can't believe it's only like a month. It's only a couple months away. It doesn't feel that way.
We are 6 weeks away from election day. In 6 weeks, In 6 weeks, two things are going to happen. The coronavirus is going to go away, and we're going to have an election too.
Well, at least I'm going to use that as an excuse to leave early because I got to go vote.
Right, going to go vote. Unless did you mail in? Did you do the mail in?
I'm not going to do the mail-in. I want to go.
I feel like a lot of people are not doing the mail in, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, I don't know anyone personally who are doing the mail in. I know people do absentees, which is a little bit different. That's like an elderly person or a person can't make it to the polls. Your absentee ballots are already due. I think they were due the end of this week. But I don't know the difference. I don't know why you just don't do that. Like, I don't know why that's not an option. It seems very weird because it's like you have your absentee ballots, but then you have your mail-in ballots. Well, what's the difference? They're both really the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
There's some guy at the post office right now pissing on a pile. You ever know that scene in Major League when Dawn comes over and goes, in my contract that says I don't have to do unnecessary calisthenics, and the coach pisses on it? There's a postal worker right now at some post office pissing on a pile of mail-in ballots.
I gotta watch that movie again. I remember in the second one, he became the owner of the team, but he didn't get a second baseman because he was a second baseman or something like that. So there was a big open gap.
Yes. And then he's the only guy to actually be in Major League 3 back to the minors.
I still haven't seen that one, actually.
So that's the only one I ever seen in the movie theater. I was like in 6th grade or 7th grade. We went to the old Showcase Cinema in Revere, and we seen Major League 3 back to the minors. And it was basically, he was something happened. We ended up playing for the minor league team or something. Like, it's weird that Dawn became the main character throughout the 3 series when it should have been. Well, it should have been Charlie Sheen, but he decided that character kind of fizzled out a little bit because Dawn's the only one who's in the same in all 3 movies, I guess. But all right, well, I guess that's the show. I guess we had 2 no-shows tonight, so it is what it is. But we had a good conversation with Jonathan Johnson tonight. Get his book. Was it jonathanjohnson.com, I believe?
.org.
.org, yes.
Yeah.
I'd say just go there. We'll have his information on the info of this podcast and whatnot. But great guest tonight. Great story. Mr. Mallet, you plugging anything?
No, just the usual. You can check out the Whirlwind Potato on YouTube if you want, and check out thepacky.com as always, and see you next week.
Cool. And yeah, we have no more Ryan Glover, so you can catch some of his old reports on the Packy and check out some of the old episodes on the Packy, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you listen to your podcasts and anywhere you view. So we're everywhere you want to be. We're like American Express. So I guess you guys all have a good week, and we'll see you later. Bye.